Hey everyone, this is Arado and we're here to talk about a slightly different topic. I want to tackle an in-depth analysis between Music Fest Minstrel and ITOKEN-San. This is so we have a clear understanding of what they can do, what their difference is it really necessary to have one or the other, or is it necessary to have both? Those are the kind of questions that some may have in deciding whether they would attempt to pull for either Music Fest Minstrel or Itoken-san on the reprint banner, or try for both if anything. So hopefully this video would be able to help you with that, answer those questions. And of course, before we start, we have two artists to showcase today. One is Sato-san in the upper left corner with Music Fest Loot, and then on the lower right with Denny. Denny draws with the minstrel artwork. So Denny also did the Virgil artwork I always have on display whenever I do a video or a stream. So both of them, Sato-san and Denny, allowed me to use their artwork for my videos or stream. And my the only thing I can do as a payback for them is to showcase their artwork to my viewers, you guys, and share their Twitter handle so that if you have the chance, visit their page and then you can see more of their artwork. And yeah, thank you so much again, Sato-san and Denny Draws, for all your amazing artwork. And with that, let's move on to the in-depth analysis. So, both Music Fest Minstrel and Itoken-san are designed for hard content. So, we already have some kind of a checklist with hard content unit. So you would like them to have defense mitigate as a very important factor in which both of them have it. Itoken-san has 40% and then Music Fest Minstrel has 30%. And then, since they play the role of a support, it can vary depending on what you need. So, either they can buff, they can mitigate, they can debuff, and so on. So, both of them can do healing, both of them can do cleanse, and then both of them can do BP battery. It's just that it's one or the other for for the for Ito-Kensan or Minstrel. And then, as you can see on the table on the lower left, I have summarized on what they can do, and I have itemized it depending on their skill and their ability. So, like say for Minstrel, he has a Minstrel Note for extra small heal and BP plus one for as an active skill for 9 BP. For Itoken-san, he has a second source of healing as a passive, but it you need to roll on that 37% chance. And then he also has a party BP plus one, which you have to roll for 25% chance. So it's just to avoid the confusion that, oh, yeah, Minstrel and Itoken-san both have that. But, you know, you need to go in detail that for Minstrel, it's a guarantee because it's a skill. For Itoken-san, you gotta roll on two different RNG to get both of the effect that you wanted. And of course, the difference between Minstrel and Itoken-san is Itoken-san has the offensive attribute buffing. So he can do strength, intelligence, dex, and love on fierce rhythm. And then the skill number three, I forgot the name, I'm sorry, has agility buffing. So that's something that Minstrel is unable to do. But instead, Minstrel is able to give moral or guard up buffing with Feste di Arme from UDX style Inherit, or he can do like a single target healing from New Year style with New Year's Melody. And then, of course, as you know, one of the buffs from Minstrel is having like a self healing and BP plus 4 capability. And that is a big deal, even though it's 25% chance. If RNG is in your favor and you're able to roll in that 25%, let's say for two consecutive turns, that's already gaining 8 BP and then 6 extra BP that you gain for going for the next turn. So that's 14 BP in total, and you're really close to using Minstrel Note twice in twice in a row. So that's something to consider. You gotta You gotta consider the different RNGs involved on both styles. Which one do you really want to have as a guarantee, and which one that you are okay, something that you would label as a nice to have, so you would rely on RNG to roll on that 25 or 37% chance to gain that effect. And that's the same response I did on Reddit with one of the commenter asking about it. That it really depends. It depends on the battle on what you need for your party. So let's do some example. Say for the egg battle. As you if you saw my clear video, I did ITOKEN-San as my support, and then on the latter part, it becomes really nasty if RNG doesn't um, go your way with intelligence buffing for egg and then doing some ailments. So Ito-Ken-san would be extremely helpful with the guaranteed ailment cleanse, of course with extra small heal, because you would like to clear any ailment as much as possible for that battle. As compared to, if I pick bringing in Minstrel instead, I would have to pray that, okay, come on, RNG, 25% chance, please cleanse the petrify or confuse that were inflicted to me. So, again, it depends on what you want, how you want to tackle the battle, and what is important for that battle. So, Minstrel, of course, can give a lot of healing, and then with a guaranteed BP plus one. For me personally, um, if I can bring both Itoken-san and Minstrel, I would bring them. But if I have to pick one, I would say Minstrel would be my pick, mainly because one, he has a guaranteed BP plus one to everyone. With the buff in global being 9 BP, he's guaranteed to use that every 3 turns. So once every 3 turns, you get to have extra small heal and BP plus one. And then with the random BP plus four every end of turn, that's something you gotta consider. And potentially, you would be able to use um, Minstrel Note again on the next succeeding 2 turns. So just once on that next 2 turns. Things like that, compared to Itoken-san, where you would have to pray for the BP plus one and then pray for the second healing to take effect. And it's the same for Minstrel. You can do um, 2 healing per turn if you use Minstrel Note for that turn, given that you roll on that 25% chance to have that heal and cleanse taking effect. And in JP, again, in JP, I stopped using Ito-Ken-san because he doesn't have any passive, compared to Minstrel, where Minstrel has high protect tension. So of course, the primary factor of choosing a character for hard content is would be favorable more for the one that has damage mitigate. So that's why I use Minstrel a lot in JP hard content. But now with global Ito-Ken-san having 40% mitigate, there are some battles where you would rather have Ito-Ken-san. Like, my primary example is Egg, where you would like to have that assurance that you can buff or you can cleanse depending on the situation. As you know, some of the hard contents as well that's global exclusive, they kind of put the attributes of the enemy pretty high that you don't normally can hit them without buffing or debuffing. And that's where Itoken-san would shine more because of Fierce Rhythm. He would be able to buff Dex for Liam, for example, or Intelligence for your caster so that they are able to hit the enemy. On the same scenario, Minstrel might not be as useful because Minstrel doesn't have any attribute buffs. He can do moral and guard up, but that doesn't help you hit the enemy. If you can't hit the enemy, then there's no way you can take finish the battle, right? So yeah, again, ultimately depends on what you need for the party, depends on the need of the battle, and if anything, you can always play favorites. I know our artist Denny, she loves Minstrel, so I would say she would pick a Minstrel for that battle and then try to work around how she would be able to hit the enemies with other source of buffing or maybe some kind of debuffing. I don't know. This is romancing saga we're talking about. There's not just one solution to in tackling a hard content. Sure, and I would be able to tackle a hard content in our own perspective, but there are still other perspective out there that both of us might not have considered, and maybe it's the better solution at that compared to what we have showcased already. So yeah, it's something to consider. And lastly, to answer those questions, I would still suggest for you to, if you already have Itoken-san, I would still suggest for you to maybe invest some jewels in Minstrel's banner. But that is my opinion. Okay, it's perfectly healthy for you to have your own opinion as well based on the input you got from Discord, from Reddit, from me, or from Sure, or from whoever else. Because ultimately, you know what your box needs, right? And this is me suggesting how how I would have decided if I were in that situation, and that I would invest on Music Fest banner. Unfortunately, I went for Penny, but that's okay. I see Minstrel as worth it for Penny, but that's me again. Don't be like me. I would say do some investment. Hopefully, you get Minstrel early, or if you get lucky as well, that you also pick up Doll. Like what I said in the banner rundown, that Doll is pretty unique with OD gauge battery and the moral down medium effect. So there's two characters in there that I think has high value compared to Itoken-san's reprint banner. There's also two characters that have high value, which is Itoken-san and Arthur. It's just that they just do two different functions, and it would depend on what you need for your box. So yeah, if you decide to pull for Music Fest Minstrel, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully I don't curse you with the pity that I might have cursed to myself and to some of my viewers. And if you only pull for Itoken-san, or if you're satisfied with Itoken-san, that's perfectly fine too. Like I said, it's just minor difference between them that you might not have the flexibility if you need what Minstrel can do. And this is not trying to scare you to go for Minstrel banner. I'm just stating facts where in the lower right table, you would see the difference. It's up to you to decide, basically. That's the summary of that. But yeah, those are my thoughts in these two characters. Hopefully, I'm able to clarify some questions you have in mind, or I was able to help you decide in a way that it's more objective. I know there are a lot of upcoming banners that are very tempting to pull. So you will have to consider that, especially if you want to pull for your waifus or husbandos. And yeah, that's it for this in-depth analysis. Again, special thanks to Sato-san and Denny for the artwork we have on display, and please visit their page when you have the chance. Um, Thank you so much, and see you in the next video or stream.